Hello, and welcome to the Stress Mastery Podcast. I am your host, Peggy Romero. Thank you so much for joining me today on another Saturday episode, where this week we'll be closing out the why. So Bill's been out on his competition, and I've really enjoyed the interviews that we've done. I hope you guys have too. So I'm basically just going to answer the same questions that I've been asking the guests all week. So I hope you guys find that useful. So, of course, I asked them all what they did. And what I'm doing now is totally different than what I've ever done in the past. I have actually had many different jobs in my life, and I love everything. So it's worked out really well for me. But now I'm working more on purpose. And it's not to earn money, but of course, I will earn money. But now it's like to live a servant's life, because I just always have wanted to serve people and help people grow. And I've always known that I was here like for that reason, basically, since I was a kid. I remember being really young. I think I've said this on the podcast before, that my favorite church song was Make Me a Channel of Your Peace. I think I was maybe in second or third grade. So however old you are, 7 or 8 years old. I didn't even know what a channel was at the time, but I understood bringing hope and faith and love to others who were hurting was something that I could really relate to. And I've just always wanted to do that. And it's still my driving force. Like, I love people and I love to help people who are trying to do better in their life. I'm writing my first book now because God told me to do that. Like when I was about 27 years old, 26 or 27, which is more than half my life ago. Sometimes I don't listen right away, but finally I did it. It's actually in formatting right now and being proofread for a second or third time. And like, that's all happening right now. So yay me. The book is more of a memoir, but I'm starting on the follow-up book already. And it will be called something like You Can Too. And who knows what else God will bring to me. I'm not, sure, but I'm totally open to whatever it is. And I just think that we always have to be listening to our heart. So I was selling insurance for years and years and years. And when I was done with that, other agents asked me to help them because I was pretty successful at my agency. And so then I really liked helping other agents. And I came up with processes. Well, I had already had them in place at my agency, but I came a way to teach business owners how to get their staff on board. And so that helped them get bigger bonuses and stuff, and it helped them. So I was really happy doing that. It's like I made up this job out of the clear blue sky all by myself, for myself, and then it worked. It worked for me. I made money, and it worked for them because they got their agencies back on track. And so just them being, grateful and appreciating my help, like, just fed me. So I love my creativity and my imagination, and I want to use it more. So what I do now is write. I work with Bill. I work on the coaches. I'm helping with training certification. And I don't know what else is in store for me, but I'm just open and excited. And so I've always felt driven to succeed, I guess. When I was young and learned from my mom, I don't remember how old I was, young, that there were the haves and the have-nots, and we were just flat out told we were the have-nots and that we weren't supposed to expect too much because then we'd be disappointed. And I just couldn't accept that for myself. Like, why? Why did I have to be a have-not? I just didn't want it to be true. So I think like once I was driven by that, just to prove that I could be better than that, I guess. And I realized that in order to do that, I was going to have to go against my programming, like all that my parents had taught me, completely go against my family dynamics, go against the tribe, which is really hard, So stepping out of your tribe is never easy. In fact, it's downright difficult, but I did it and it served me well. And I was always a worker. So I got this really great work ethic from my dad. Well, really, I got it, I think, from my whole ancestry down the line, because we are a tough bunch of hard workers. And my family is always willing to work hard. And so we're like my grandparents and, their parents before them. So that hard work has really served me well. So after my push initially, my why became to give my kids a better life than what I had. And I had always wished for all these things when I was a kid. And I remember being young and thinking, I'm not going to have 7 kids. I'm just going to have a couple kids so that I have enough money for them. I wanted my kids to have stylish clothes and a nice clean house and plenty of food and always have seconds if they wanted it, a nice warm coat and shoes that would keep their feet dry. So that was my second goal. So then I did that. But once I achieved that, then I wanted to go for more. So I guess I started realizing it was just my nature to want more. I'm a vitality purpose. So my aim is to raise energy. So I suppose, not knowing any of that back then, if I raised my energy from here to here, then I just naturally wanted it to go up a little bit more. I don't know, but it's just always been like that for me. And that's just not raising my energy. I want to raise the energy of my family, my friends, and anybody around me, my workmates and everything. So now my why is that I want to stay connected to my purpose. So I need a healthy and strong mind and body. And I refuse to live in stress and turmoil anymore. That's like another one of my whys, so that I can just, stay grounded. Like, I live in peace now and I love it. I'm in charge of me. I love it. Well, me and God. I don't want to take too much credit for it. God's actually in charge of me. I think I've been working on myself my whole life, but it was on accident. Well, I guess I'd say accidentally on purpose. I thought that self-help and personal development and things like being balanced, it's kind of seemed like a cult or something to me. I really didn't want anything to do with it. So I never read a book about it. If I saw it like in a magazine, I didn't read it. Never talked to anybody about it. And so I never sought help for personal development or anything like that. I just looked within myself and tried to relieve some of my pain and struggle. And I asked God to help me with that. And I just created my own skill set that worked for me. As a matter of fact, this is pretty funny. I actually thought that I created the law of mind. I really did. And the Green Focus Power Hour, until I met Bill, and he told me, that they were both a thing. So Bill created Green Focus Power Hour, but I created my own kind of. And I just thought it was funny to learn about the law of mind. But when I was a kid, we didn't always have like a warm enough coat. We lived in the snow. We lived in New York, and sometimes there'd be a lot of snow, and we didn't have good shoes, and we didn't have boots and stuff like that. And then sometimes we'd even run out of oil in the furnace, so we didn't have heat, and we'd just be freezing. And I noticed when I was probably about maybe 12 or 13, like the more that you think that you're cold and you say you're cold and you shiver and everything, then you get colder and colder than you actually were when you started telling yourself you were cold. So then I just started, telling myself, like, don't think you're cold and you won't be. So then I started telling it to the kids, like, just stop thinking about it and you won't be so cold. And it worked. And then it also worked. I was a young mom. I was only 18 when I had my daughter, Melissa. And I remember being in labor and just like kind of giving up and just like, oh, I can't do this anymore. And I remember thinking, this hurts too much. This hurts too much. It started hurting so much more. And I realized, oh my gosh, I could pull this back in. And I consciously became aware of my thoughts, and it started hurting less. I know it's crazy. So, but it's true. So that day I realized it could go either way, think positive or think negative. And yeah, it's crazy. Law of mind. So I was introduced to stress mastery by my sister, Jenny. She had met Bill at an event that Bill had, I think. And then I could see this big difference in her, and she was all calm and peaceful, which was really crazy for her and me. And I was like, wow, what are you doing? But I would not take the time. It literally took her probably 3 or 4 years to convince me to reach out to him. And I had to wait till my stress level was completely unmanageable, even though I could see her right before my eyes doing great. I was so stressed out at work, I honestly started thinking that I was going to have a heart attack. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. And so I sold my agency, and I just thought, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to live in peace now. I'm going to just have an easy job, or, I'll work for other agents, and I won't have all that stress, and I'll be happy, and I'll be fulfilled and content and peaceful. No, I wasn't, because I was still the same, just stressed out. I was going to say basket case. I think that means you're dead, but I was, terrible. And I was completely at my wit's end. I didn't want to be like that anymore. And I had to admit finally that I needed help. So, of course, in hindsight, I wish I would have called him immediately when I saw my sister. I mean, there was such a big difference in my sister. I don't know why I didn't call him right away. I honestly didn't think that I had time to work on myself because I was under so much stress at work and trying to be a good wife and a good mom and see my grandkids and be a good friend and all this. And the stress was completely killing me. And I don't know why. I just thought I didn't have enough time to work with him. But, say I can't go back and change that. But if you're struggling with that, take time to take care of yourself. Like, I don't know what else to say. It's like, seems so plain to me now, but if you're there, I know where you're at. So try and think about it. So I've been able to use the techniques in stress mastery to like completely change my life. Like, I've embraced the techniques of stress mastery. And so all 5 life categories are changed for me. I do need to walk the walk more on the diet and exercise part, because if I slip, it's going to slip there. That's my one thing. But I have lost 50 pounds, so I'm really happy about that. But just like everyone else, I'm a work in process. But you know what? I'm not going to fail because my habits are so much better than they ever used to be, and I have no intention of quitting. So I know that I'll be fine. I'll just might not be as fast as I want it to be, but I'm good. So my relationships have transformed. Most of them are totally different. Some of them are better. Some of them I just don't have anymore. Some of them are just a little bit pulled apart because I just don't see them as much. But I've said it before on the podcast, and I still remember hearing this like it was yesterday, that David said that if the people around you don't grow, then the relationship starts falling apart. And I thought, I'll never break up because I just love him so much, and I can, he's whatever he is. And now we're broke up. I wasn't expecting that, but it's okay. It was my choice to break up. And I'm just perfectly fine with it. But I'm really surprised. When I was talking to David about this the other day, he said that if people don't grow, then they got to go or something like that. And I was like, wow, I'm glad I didn't hear him say that back then. But like I said, I didn't believe it. And I thought that all of my relationships were strong enough to handle my growth. And I couldn't comprehend why somebody would try and pull you back if you're trying to grow. But I'm telling you, I was proven wrong because it happens. It's just crazy. Some of my closest relationships are not so close anymore. I mean, I still love them. They're very, very dear friends, but they don't support me. So then that leads me to another why. Like, I have to ask myself, why would I spend my valuable time with people who don't embrace me? They're stuck where they're at. I noticed that I don't have much in common with some people that I had a lot in common with before. Fortunately for me, I still have a lot of people that did support my growth. I mean, my kids are fantastic. They're all working on themselves now too. So I have friends that supported like me and my rising up my energy. I'm like a different person. I'm like so much more calm and so much more forgiving, less judgmental, and not stressed out. Yay. It's like my new identity. They're just willing to go, okay, this is you now. We'll accept you no matter what you look like now. So I hope that you have those people in your life too, because we need them. We all need people. And so this road to becoming your best self, it's a long process and it isn't always easy. And I would have to say that probably 80% of my life is different because of my shift in awareness. And when we listen to the ego, we're constantly stuck in a negative state, right? So I lived in this chronic stress. I just told you guys, like, I was afraid I was going to have a stinking heart attack. I've had my chest pounding, like any time, my boom, like it would just hit me. And if that wasn't enough, I would like throw up if it got too bad. So we know that 95% of our behavior is dictated by what's held in mind. So if we're holding on to fear, regret, like I constantly had a fear of failure. I was afraid, like, oh, I got up this mountain at work, and I was constantly afraid that it was going to get ripped out from under me because I needed my staff and I was a control freak. And so I always wanted to be able to count on them. And if somebody called in sick or was late or whatever, gosh, I was such a jerk. I was just constantly living in the red zone, just constantly and always reacting, because we're just always going to react accordingly. If we're, fearful or scared, we're going to be lashing out. If we're living in anger, we're like yelling at people. It's like, or sometimes we just totally shut down. Like, we all react different ways. We can't help it. I mean, we're hardwired for behavior, right? And so whatever your reaction, even if it's, negative and you're not proud of it, it's not coming from your conscious mind. It's not even really you. It's your ego defending you. So it's not you. So you just have to work on it. It's really funny when you think about it, where people live in different energy levels, because no two of us are ever alike, right? So you can be in the same place with the same conflict with somebody and the same thing happens, and how you react or respond is completely different than the way somebody else reacts or respond. Well, I was always the one that was responding badly or reacting badly. So it's nice for me that now, like, I take a breath and I don't have to act like that anymore. It's so great. So all of that has to do with our habitual state and where we live. So thankfully, through working the technique of stress mastery, and especially let go technique and naming the ego, I've been able to raise my consciousness and pay attention to what's happening around me, and realizing, like, I don't need to react, and how I behave is not going to change what's happening. So if we can live in a habitual state, like, of a green zone energy, we have to decide, like, where do we want to live and what is it worth to us? Because it's not easy, especially when you're stuck in the lower red zone. You're like pounded down kind of with rocks on top of you. I know how you guys feel. So you get to choose. Are you going to live in fear or love? Do you want to live in the red zone or green zone? Survival mode or awareness, like connected to your heart or listening to your head? In our heart, we can respond. In our head, we're always going to react, because that's not really us. In the red zone, the ego's running your life. So you're constantly in fight or flight. You're just waiting for the next attack. And the next attack can be anything. It can be something that somebody says to you that's not nice, or it can be getting stuck in traffic. Maybe it's making you late. It doesn't matter what the conflict is. It's your ability or inability to manage your nervous system. We can't change anything by being stressed out. I wish I could have understood that earlier. We just make ourselves miserable. It's just so sad. So if we're in the green zone, we can stay connected to our heart and to the moment. I read a book called Finding the Now a couple years ago, and it was life-changing for me. Like, just becoming present, being aware of what you're thinking and feeling and doing. Because now we're able to respond to a conflict without adding the judgment, not listening to our head and all those stories of the past and what happened before and what's going to happen now and how terrible it's all going to be, the doom and gloom of the future that the ego wants to tell us. But like I said, it does take practice, and you have to do it every single day to master it, because you climb up, and then if you quit thinking about it, then you fall back down and then you get back up. But you can. We all go through it. And it's really hard work getting to know yourself, but it's also so important. So becoming aware of who you really are, like who you really are. Step 3 of stress mastery is naming the ego. And when you can name the ego, you're separating the eyes. So it's that critical voice in your head, the inner critic that never shuts up. But once you can identify that and give it a name, now you're separated from it. And if you're seeing it talk, then you can realize it's not you, right? So you'll quickly realize how much it's constant. 1 minute your friend, 1 minute your enemy, 1 minute defending you, 1 minute beating you down. But it's not you, it's your ego. So understanding this has been part of the work that I had to do. And like I said, I want to live in peace. And so it was totally worth it for me, because I feel so much better. And I'm probably the same of 90% of people. I think we all want to live in peace, right? Responding instead of reacting has changed my life in so many ways. And it's changed my relationships miraculously. I have better relationships, which is another part of my why. I wanted to build my relationships. I'm still working on that because some of them were, totally crappy because I wasn't that nice. So this journey is definitely worth taking. And like I said, I only wish I would have started sooner. I probably could have started at least 10 years ago. My sister probably met Bill, I'm not quite sure. But anyways, I didn't even get started till my mid to late 50s. I told you guys before, sometimes I'm a slow learner. But better late than never, right? So I am so much better because of this journey that I've been taking. I can't even begin to tell you guys how stressed out I was. I actually kind of don't even remember how stressed out I was. I just remember my body still feels how stressed out it was. I still, when I think about being anxious, I can just remember this lump in my throat, that my chest pounding, and that I would get so sick that I would throw up sometimes. And what a jerky control freak I was. I mean, I'm telling you, 80% was me, the regular me who I actually am, 20% freaking lunatic at work. Like, it's such a B. Looking back, it's pretty hard to believe how successful I was because I wasn't very nice a lot of the time to my staff. I mean, if I would have been them, I would have told them to buzz off. I was impossible to please, which they used to say, gosh, last night you were so happy about everything, and now today, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sorry, you guys. I know I fly off the handle, but I just react. Yeah, I couldn't handle it. So anyways, I'm grateful to my people who stayed with me because I certainly didn't deserve the loyalty. Like I said, I was impossible to please, and I'm so happy that I'm not that person anymore. So happy I'm not that person anymore. One question that I wanted to ask everyone, but I wasn't able to ask everybody because it's hard to ask. But for me, when did I decide that enough was not going to be enough? And I think for me, I realized as soon as that I knew that I could step up and out and away from that lack mentality that I was raised in, that I started to gain confidence in myself and my abilities. And so each little step led me to have the nerve to take another, right? So I wasn't taking great big strides. I wish I would have been, but I wasn't. I took baby steps, but I took so many baby steps that it led me down this road to a life that is like 1,000 times better than I've ever dreamed possible. Like as the years go by, I think up what I want and then it becomes better. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm so happy about it. My mom used to say, Peggy, why can't you be satisfied? Why can't you be content? Why isn't enough ever enough for you? And I just didn't want to like make my goal and then reach it and then sit there and be content. I don't know why. I guess because I had plenty of energy. I was young and I had more ideas. I always have another idea. I have a really great imagination, which I'm very, very thankful for. And I wish I could have been in a place where I had a mentor or someone to inspire me. I mean, wow, the things I could have accomplished if I would have had somebody else giving me ideas. But you know what? I'm still happy with my life. But I would encourage you to find somebody to look up to, somebody to emulate, somebody to follow, because your life could be different too. But I'm actually really happy with my accomplishments and what I've achieved and who I am, because my younger siblings watched me and they all figured, oh, crap, if Peggy can do it, so can I. And they're all entrepreneurs and successful, and they have prosperous lives. I'm talking about really successful people, and it's just amazing. So it's a beautiful thing. We were all able to break out of that lack mentality that we were raised in, and our kids don't have any idea what it's like to be poor. None of them. None of our kids were raised in lack. They don't know what it's like to not have enough money or to be cold or to be hungry. I'm sure they've never lived a day without heat. I know my kids haven't. They can't imagine not being able to play sports because there was no money, or not have all new school clothes or lots of stuff for Christmas. And I'm really proud of that. I really am, for my kids and my nieces and nephews. So the last question I was asking was, what are your plans for the future? So let's see. I have so many plans. My book comes out on September 19th. It's titled, Finally Becoming the Person You Were Always Meant to Be. The pre-sale started this week, and I'm just sure that you're going to want a copy. So you can go to PeggyRomero.com. I have a pre-sale page there, and I'll send you a copy signed as soon as they mail them out to me. And I'm going to start on my next book very soon. It's going to be like a second part of that, probably named You Can Too or something like that. I'm not sure yet. I intend to keep working with Bill Courtwright and his new company. That's for sure, because I love this. I love to help people. So, of course, I want to raise the vibration in the world just like he does, create a shift in the planet. I'd love to help him with that. I also have a 501c3 that I haven't been working on for a couple of years since COVID came, because all of our stuff was in person. And then I've been going through a lot of adjustments in my life, so I just haven't worked on it. But I've taught many financial empowerment workshops, mostly to women, helping them understand finance. Depending on the demographic, I could be teaching them, and it's not just me, I have volunteers that help me, not the only speaker, but we help them. Like, some people just need the basics of how to budget and understand why you don't want to charge things and the importance of having a good credit score and stuff. And then I've hosted lots of home buying 101 classes, because when I had my agency, I had many, renters. And so a couple times a year, I would invite them, like usually for brunch or something like that. And I would invite people like mortgage brokers and lenders and realtors and stuff. And so they could learn what they needed to do, like from where they were at to how they could get to buy a house. And I've also done quite a few retirement seminars, probably more of those than other things. I like to meet people wherever they're at. I don't care where you are, wherever you're sitting, and just bring you up a notch. It's like my favorite thing to do. Empower people, give them a hand up. Give them a hand up, not a handout. So, like I said, I haven't been doing anything with my 501c3 since COVID came, but if you ever want to volunteer with me, just let me know, because I've done stuff mostly in Portland and different places in Oregon, Washington, and Arizona, because that's where I live, but I would love to do it other places too. I just didn't keep my tribe connected during COVID because I've been doing all this other stuff, but I'll get back to it next year. I'm also learning to brand myself on social media, which is a big undertaking for me because I'm not that technical, but I'm getting technical. I'm working on creating a following. So my Facebook and Instagram handle is Peggy with Purpose. I also have my personal Facebook page of Peggy Romero, and PeggyRomero.com is my website. So I hope that you guys will follow me. Working on an email list that my girl's helping me with, Ashley. I also want to do more stress mastery events. I love helping people. So I think it's really awesome. We have the Rise Up and Shift event coming this September 22nd. I hope you guys are coming, because it'll be really great. And I hope that Bill will do more events with me next year. And I just love connecting with people in person. I love meeting people. I love people, and I spend far too much time alone. So much so that I've gotten completely used to it, and I'm totally comfortable alone. So now I'm afraid I'm not going to like being around people anymore if I don't get out soon. I also intend to be a dynamic, sought-after speaker who helps millions of people. I know that's kind of a lofty goal, but I can do it. Like I said, I love to help people who don't have the courage to step out, or people who don't think that they're worthy, or just think that they can't. Lots of people just don't believe in themselves. So many people can use encouragement. So actually, can't we all use some encouragement? So I guess that's all I have on my plate right now. And it seems like plenty to do. And I'm so excited about all of it. So that's my why. Why? I guess because I want to help you. I love helping people. And also, I've told you guys before, I want God to say, well done, good and faithful servant. So I'm on my path to that, living on purpose. So that wraps up this week's topic. And I thank you so much for tuning in. I want to thank all my guests again this week for coming on the show with me and allowing me to interview them. I hope each one of you were able to connect with each one of them in some way. Tomorrow, Coach Felix will be here on the Sunday episode of the podcast, because Bill will still be out. But then on Monday, David, the Super Millennial, will be back for Millennial Monday. And the next week, Bill and David will be back to our regular schedule, where our topic is ability. So I can't wait to see what comes up with that. I love listening to their podcast. So that's it for today's show. And our mission here is to create a shift in the planet. And you can join us on that mission by simply like, share, and subscribe. The links are right below the show notes. As always, until next time, stay inspired.